Just when Donald Trump thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. Already reeling from backlash to the most unpopular agenda in modern American history, tangled in the Epstein scandal, and humiliated on the world stage, Trump is now facing yet another brutal blow. This time, it's coming from inside MAGA itself as his own movement begins turning against him, sparking a full-blown 3 a.m. Truth Social meltdown. We'll get into all of that in a moment. But first, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us keep bringing you this coverage. Now, before we break down Trump's meltdown and the MAGA revolt, let's start with just how unpopular he really is. And for that, here's Jen Psaki.
So in Pennsylvania, you had 205,000 more votes than you had voters. And the number's actually much greater than that now. That was as of a week ago. And this is a mathematical impossibility unless you want to say it's a total fraud.
That was one of the many election lies Donald Trump, of course, repeated on January 6th. Now, he said that as he was speaking to supporters, many of whom then went on to violently attack the U.S. Capitol, where members of Congress were certifying President Joe Biden's 2020 election win. But Trump did not make up that lie about Pennsylvania on his own, believe it or not. He got it from this woman, Heather Honey. Honey is a absolutely rabid election denier, a conspiracy theorist, and a protege of Cleta Mitchell, one of the lawyers who tried and failed to help Trump overturn the 2020 election results. Honey, in particular, misrepresented voter data to sell the idea that Pennsylvania somehow had more votes than voters, which was not at all true, not even close. But Trump treated it like it was completely true, and even cited it as a proof of election fraud in documents he released just last year. But Heather Honey did not just lie about Pennsylvania's election. She has led a variety of election conspiracy groups whose erroneous investigations fueled right-wing attacks on voting systems in other states, like Arizona and Georgia. Now it appears that Heather Honey, that same woman, has a brand new job. Yesterday, Democracy Docket was first to report that she has been appointed to be the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Election Integrity. You heard me right. A senior role in Trump's Department of Homeland Security that is supposed to primarily protect our elections from foreign interference, which is an ongoing threat, no matter who is president. Let that soak in for a second. A conspiracy theorist with absolutely zero knowledge of how to actually run elections, aside from spreading completely fabricated lies about the outcome in the past, is currently in charge of helping to oversee our election infrastructure. It's obvious, very obvious, Heather Honey isn't in this job because she has some sort of immaculate record of protecting voting systems against security threats. Obviously not. She's in this job because of her connection to Trump, who used her lies to his advantage, and who may now continue to do so in elections to come. In fact, her appointment comes as Trump has gutted the very federal programs designed to protect our elections from interference in the first place, including the DOJ program aimed at combating foreign influence campaigns. Trump also cut roughly 1,000 employees from the nation's top cybersecurity agency and put the director of that agency, Chris Krebs, under federal investigation. All of these questionable moves begin to make better sense when you consider Trump's political reality right now. His approval ratings are completely in the toilet, as we talk about a lot. His major legislative achievement, sort of, I guess, the big ugly bill, is deeply unpopular among Americans for good reason.
Donald Trump is historically unpopular. This may be the low point of either of his presidencies, and that includes January 6th, which should just go to show how bad the big, beautiful, ugly pile of bill is and why we need to speak about it all the time. And it's not just that. It's the Epstein scandal that has completely taken over Donald Trump's presidency as well. There is too much to hit Trump and Republicans on for Democrats not to be calling them out all the time, because it is proven out to work, as we saw last night with a huge upset in Iowa that I want to get into and then see Donald Trump's response. Democrat wins Iowa's Senate race, upending Republican supermajority. An upset victory by Caitlin Dray flips a seat formerly held by a Republican in the conservative-leaning district that Trump easily won in 2024. Caitlin Dre D flipped a vacant state Senate seat in Iowa's Sioux City area, formerly held by a Republican, defeating Kiss Christopher Prose after she won more than 55% of the ballot Tuesday in a low turnout race. According to a tally from the office of Iowa's Secretary of State, the election was held to replace State Senator Rocky Dwight, who represented the state's 1st district until his death in June. Dre's upset victory erases the GOP's supermajority in the state Senate, which will now have 33 Republicans and 17 Democrats. A supermajority would have allowed the governor's nominees to be approved on a party line vote, as a 2/3 majority is needed for confirmation. Dre's triumph in a voting district that lies inside Woodbury County, which Donald Trump easily won in 2024, also offers a glimpse into the mood of conservative-leaning districts ahead of next year's midterms. Because of this, Donald Trump threw a tantrum on a number of topics, but started off with, "There is a sick rumor going around that fake news NBC extended the contract of one of the least talented late-night television hosts out there, Seth Meyers. He has no ratings, talent, or intelligence, and the personality of an insecure child. Oh, Jesus! So why would fake news NBC extend the dope's contract? I don't know, but I'll definitely be finding out." Trump continued, "Republicans ban mail-in voting." President DJT also writing, "Crime numbers are way down in D.C. Amazing progress being made. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. Why would Donald Trump want to ban mail-in voting after losing in a conservative district? Simple. Because he wants his thumb on the scale of every election. This isn't about fraud or integrity or keeping elections secure. It's about power. Since 2016, Trump has been the one undermining our democracy. Mail-in voting makes it easier to vote, and more importantly, to vote against him. He and Stephen Miller know exactly who benefits from mail-in ballots, and it isn't Trump. But here's the kicker. By scaring Republicans away from voting by mail, he's actually hurting himself. It already cost him in Iowa. And while he's railing against democracy at 3 a.m., posting Big Mac rants and ice cream tantrums, his brain is only sinking deeper into mush. Meanwhile, voters in Iowa are making it clear they want Medicaid protected, they want transparency on Epstein, and they're not buying Trump's distractions. That's why the midterms are shaping up to be a disaster for him, and just watch how his cabinet handles it. With North Korea-style praise sessions that Jen Psaki absolutely dismantled. You have to see this breakdown.
Today, Trump had yet another completely bizarre meeting with his cabinet. And during that meeting, he claimed that, quote, "a lot of people say," he loves to say that. That's one of his favorite things. Now, he said a lot of people say, in this case, that they want him to be a dictator.
So the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator. Most people say, if you call him a dictator, then if he stops crime, he can be whatever he wants. I'm not a dictator, by the way.
I mean, first of all, Donald Trump is not stopping crime. That's definitely not what he's doing. Second, if you have to keep telling people you aren't a dictator, maybe your actions are getting a little dictatory, I think. I mean, this is actually the second day in a row that Trump is claiming that, quote, "a lot of people are saying they want a dictator." I don't know about you, but I don't know any of those people. In fact, I have to imagine that the group of people that want Trump to be a dictator is actually pretty small, even people who support him. But that must be hard for Trump to understand, because some of the people in that incredibly small group happen to work for him, it seems. I mean, Trump has surrounded himself with people who already treat him like a dictator. And I was going to try to describe for you just how sycophantic this cabinet meeting today was. How much it would make North Korean leader like Kim Jong-un or Russian President Putin blush. But my attempt to summarize this meeting, just no matter how hard I tried, just could simply not do it justice. And this is one of those things you really have to see for yourself.
As we approach Labor Day weekend here, this is just such a great opportunity really to recognize your leadership as a true champion for working people.
Everyone knows there's no stronger advocate for hardworking American families than you, sir.
Mr. President, it's pretty great to celebrate Labor Day with a builder who loves labor.
Mr. President, I invite you to see your big, beautiful face on a banner in front of the Department of Labor, because you are really the transformational president of the American worker.
The average family and individual that lives in this country is safer than they've been in years because of what you've done.
Our country has never been so secure thanks to you.
You have breathed life back into the profession of law enforcement.
Your tireless campaign and your relentless messaging made people realize the American dream isn't dead. It's just been smothered, and we're unsmothering it and setting it loose.
You have brought us back from the edge. You had the overwhelming mandate from the American people. You're restoring confidence in government.
All the industries that have been killed in this country are coming back to life because of you. You are going to save the whales on the East Coast.
Thank you for saving college football, by the way. We're all very grateful.
This is the greatest cabinet working for the greatest president.
What we are accomplishing now, again, wouldn't be possible if not for your leadership.
God bless your assembly of this team around this table. We're bringing the American dream back.
I do believe we're in a revolution. 1776 was the first one. 1863 or so with Abraham Lincoln was the second. This is the third, with Donald Trump leading the way.
There's only one thing I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the Nobel Peace, this Nobel Award was ever talked about, to receive that award.
We've talked a lot about Donald Trump's cognitive decline, the slurred words, the memory lapses, but honestly, this image says it all. He has to be propped up because there's nothing left in there. It's pudding. It's mush. And we're going to keep calling it out on this show every single day. If you want to support that, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and if you made it all the way to the end, leave a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I will see you soon.